waiting a really long time to watch Alien Earth. When I heard it was first announced, I was ecstatic, because from my experience, you cannot go wrong with Alien. Enter Alien Earth, which is set in the year 2120, 2 years before the events of the original Alien movie, which was set in 2122. So that means that Alien Earth functions as a prequel to the first film, and it falls right smack after Alien Prometheus, which was set in 2093, and Alien Covenant, which came after it, which was set in 2104. So then think of Alien Earth as basically the continuation of those, which actually pleases me because I wanted to see that story continue. With as many people hated Prometheus and Covenant, I understand, but I personally love those films. I've watched them several times, and one thing I can say about this show so far is that it feels like Alien. The suspense is crazy. The cinematography is pristine. There's a segment here where they're transitioning, and it looks so clean, and look at how they do the shots, where they hide what they want to hide, but then it's just this continuous or seemingly continuous loop of them going and transitioning to different people being on the table. Just really well done. I really like what they do here. I like the characters. Each and every character feels lived in, and I also like this guy, freaking enhanced guy. He's a badass. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I just love him. I also like that they've introduced the new dynamic with the synthetics, cyborgs, and hybrids, which you'll come to see. So the way that they start off this whole series in episode 1, they've given us 2 episodes when this came out, is they let you know this is set in the year 2120, and there is a bunch of specimen on board this vessel. They're heading back to Earth, and it feels very reminiscent of the first movie, the way they're all sitting around the table and just bantering with each other.
Honestly, cryo really creeps me out.
I wonder why.
That's because Tang over there with his little beady eyes stares at you while you sleep. Fucking hell.
Where everyone wakes up, it's shot exactly the same, and then it transitions to them being around the dinner table. And this was a really good way of them paying homage to the first film without it being creepy and weird the way the Jurassic Park films do it. You can also forgive a lot of it because, I gotta say, this show is actually really good. This time around, however, nobody has any face huggers having laid eggs in them. I also like the way that they tell the story without telling it. Whenever they mention someone or they do a little bit of exposition, they say something around the lines of, oh, since an AI, it was started by this kid like 10 years ago, the boy genius, boy cavalier, and then they cut to a clip of him. They say youngest trillionaire ever, and then it just immediately cuts to him, and notice how it just goes right back to them talking. I also like that they do a bit of overlaying when you want to showcase what a character is looking at or thinking about while they're doing it without switching back and forth all the time. Very wonderful way to storytell, and if they do switch it back, they kind of fade into it and make it feel very present while the character's reminiscing over something. I think it's a very artistic way of cinematography that you don't really see often. I mean, sometimes you look back at older works of art and it feels as though they did a much better job at cinematography than the newer works of art do. So when you actually do see it, it stands out like a sore thumb, but in the good way. So anyway, we start off with this girl, Marcy, who has some kind of terminal illness. The one thing I will say is that if she has an illness where she loses her hair, first of all, in some shots, it looks as though her head is way too big. She's either using a ball cap and then they're doing some CG with it too. But then it looks in some of the shots, her head looks way too big from the side. Or who knows, maybe that's part of her illness. And the other thing is if she is losing her hair for whatever reason, I'm guessing, I don't know if this is alopecia, I don't really know. I'm guessing it's some other reason. Maybe she had some kind of cancer or something. But why are her eyebrows still there? Why are her eyelashes still there? Now, if she has lupus, I guess it's more likely, but usually chemotherapy is what causes total hair loss. But if it's a milder kind, maybe it just affects the hair that grows out of your head. Who knows? It just looks odd. Anyway, this boy genius has accomplished what I'm guessing we're heading towards now, which is taking someone in consciousness from one body and going straight up Avatar. And I like how they also make him out to be Peter Pan as this analogy as he shows the screen over the bed, because This is Neverland Island, and this is where you get to stay a kid forever. You were put into a synthetic body and transferred your consciousness, just like with Avatar. When he had his consciousness transferred, I mean, he was transferred there permanently at the end of the movie, but he essentially had an issue where he could never walk again, and he woke up in this body, and now he's super healthy and can do all the things that he never thought he could do and more, which is like run and screw and all that stuff. Except he's still in his human body until his consciousness is permanently placed inside his Navi body and his human body is disposed. Whatever the hell they did with it, they probably frickin' ate it or something. Difference here being that these are synthetic bodies, not another life form, even though they kind of are another life form. So you still are very much human, but you're now in a body that doesn't age, doesn't get sick, doesn't need to eat. My thing is though, if I were still human and I was an adult and placed into that body, I would still want to do, like, you know, pleasurable things. I think my psyche would miss that. I'm sure the bodies have a way of, like, figuring that out. But these are children, and I really like how when the other kids are placed inside of their bodies, they're all terminally ill as well. So there's no ethical issues with that. I like how they still act like kids. The guy in the blue shirt, I think, is the best one who still feels like a kid. Slight also. This guy also makes it believable that he's a kid. And naturally, as with kids, the boys are usually a little bit more immature than the girls, but this is so well done.
Not me. Healthy as a horse.
Why a horse?
Maybe our batteries just run out and we're like...
Standing, dress.
He's one of my favorite characters. And what I like is that even though she is a synthetic, Wendy, which she called herself because they all take on the name of the Lost Boys and Peter Pan characters, Wendy is extremely likable. And the other synthetics are just as strong as her, but you see that they still have limitations, even when they're in a situation where they no longer need to be afraid. But I think it's a good thing that they did with the Alien Earth show, because now they're in a situation where they have to go and help out the humans, and they are still afraid because the things that are there can still very much kill them. They can still die. They just can't die from illness and disease and stuff like that, but they can still explode, they can still be killed, essentially. And with them being synthetics, the stuff that would easily kill man, seeing how easy it probably can kill the synthetics, would probably drive home exactly how dangerous these creatures are that they find on the ship or the vessel that ends up crash landing into Earth, carrying all of these specimens, including the xenomorphs. This guy, who looks like he's English, happens to be the big brother of Marcy, who is now Wendy, who thinks that his sister is gone forever. So when he's in danger, or when Wendy wants to help, she's been watching him on surveillance, and she's like, oh, really? My brother's in trouble? I need to go help him. And she has powers and abilities that they didn't even account for with her being synthetic, things that they didn't program into her. But I think what they're also alluding to is that her body's not exactly just hers, because the trillionaire guy can see through her eyes. And all this is happening in the first episode, mind you. Also, this guy is freaking badass. I don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy, but the enhanced guy, or as they call them, cyborgs, he's pretty good. Like, he comes off like a Terminator. They also have a lot of mystery in this, because there is this guy in a hazmat suit. Don't know if he's synthetic, don't know if it's a real human being, because he's always in the spot trying to clean what looks like mold or spores or something, but yet everybody else doesn't need to wear a mask. Especially this woman over here who seems human, but he's all decked up in the suit. So what is back there? Why is he doing this? Is this necessary? What is behind this door? And we see him many, many hours or days later doing exactly the same thing. He's always doing exactly the same thing. I like that the show also causes you to ask a lot of questions. And whenever they present humans on screen, I actually want to know more about the humans and inquire as to what their purpose is or motivation. Like this guy, we know he's working for Whalen Yutani, and he seems to have a one-track mind in making sure that nothing escapes the ship and everything is quarantined. He's a cyborg, but he's all about business, to a sociopathic degree. I also like that we get to see aliens that are not just the xenomorphs. There's just so much about this show that I like, and I'm only hoping that they carry on and they continue this way. Even the motivation of the trillionaire, the reason why he even did all of this is because he wants to make someone who can hold a conversation with him him and be smarter than him, to challenge him. So he's basically Punch Man, but when it comes to his intelligence. One of the things I also love about this show, as we can see fully in episode 2, they do a bit of it in episode 1, but in episode 2, they play up the suspense so hard. And when things are going after people, you really feel it. Xenomorph is chasing people, or when you hear it massacring people in the background, holy shit, you actually feel it. You actually feel like someone's being chased. And this guy, he does a really good job with fear. Like, he's one of the best actors when it comes to being afraid that I've seen. Many of these people don't know what these creatures are and have never seen them before. Not even the trillionaire guy, who is the op for the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. And this is Yutani. And when she's like, yeah, that stuff there, that belongs to us. The trillionaire guy is like, no, it crashed into my building. So we have a treaty going on where you can't just come take stuff from out of my territory. And whatever you did, your ship took down one of my buildings, killed a lot of people. So, I mean, I sent people in there to go and rescue and stuff. So whatever is there, it's kind of my situation. I imagine if someone had an animal and that animal went and tore up your garden, or your chicken went and ate all your fish out of the pond, it'd be understandable why the person there would probably shoot your chicken or eat it, because yes, it's yours, but you're also on my property. There are different laws involving that, so people can't just do that because stuff happens. You can't just have a dog go on someone's land and then you say, well, that's my dog now. You can't really do that, but it would be understandable that if your dog is causing a lot of damage to property or the animals on that person's land, that person is well within their right to shoot your dog to protect their own animals. I mean, as much as that doesn't make me comfortable, I think about my animals and my dogs, and if there was a creature, someone's pet bear or other dog, coming here and try to maul my dogs and my animal, and I wouldn't shoot the dog if it was just destroying my property because it's a life, but if it's actively trying to kill my animals, yeah, that dog's getting shot if I can't neutralize it. Especially if it killed one of my animals, then it's dead. If it's one of my dogs or my cats. So Yutani's in a weird situation, and now they're sending rescues, and now Wendy, the synthetic, and her lost boyfriends, the other synthetic kids in these synthetic bodies, are now at the site to go and help people. That's what episode 2 involves, as well as getting the introduction very slowly and painstakingly suspenseful of them finding out these things that have escaped on this ship and not knowing what the hell they are. You got tick things that suck a whole bunch of blood, and then we get to meet this very awful situation with this cat with that alien in it that we all universally and collectively feel is disturbing as hell. And mind you, this is just the first 2 episodes. If you haven't seen these first 2 episodes of Alien Earth, you need to go check them out. Seriously, I don't even want to do the play-by-play right now because it's still so freaking fresh at the time this video was put out, but definitely, if the rest of the series is like this, then we're in for some good eating. Thank goodness.